Caitlin Clark was singled out on the court for weeks, while the WNBA said nothing. The fans were furious. Analysts avoided discussing the matter. Then the quiet broke. The biggest stars in the NBA, not the WNBA. These weren't quotes from the press team or courteous shout-outs. This voice was honest and unreserved. LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Music, Steph Curry, and others weren't merely complimenting her performance. They were protecting her from what they witnessed firsthand. Steph in particular had had enough. He heard the quiet, saw the music, hits, and when he finally spoke, his words echoed throughout the basketball community. Everyone pays attention when a celebrity like Curry publicly objects to Caitlin being used as a punching bag. He was by no means alone. What did at least 6 NBA All-Stars actually say when they went on record to say, Caitlin Clark isn't a flash in the pan. She's an elite-level player being unfairly targeted, and it's unacceptable. Some of the NBA's most significant players have shared their unfiltered word-for-word reactions here, and some of them may surprise you. NBA players typically only show affection to one another. Therefore, most people anticipated a generic compliment when Pascal Siakam, the All-Star champion and one of the league's smoothest two-way players, was asked about Caitlin Clark, perhaps something surface-level and safe. Pascal, however, wasn't cautious. He was questioned Music, about which player receives the greatest affection. Suddenly, and without warning, he mentioned Caitlin Clark, not merely in passing, not as a courteous nod, but as someone who, according to him, was comparable to players in the NBA itself.
Oh man, Caitlin she's a beast, man. Like, and they love her. So I'll probably say Caitlin Clark. I love Tyrese, but she's another level in terms of just the love that she has.
Give that some thought. She wasn't being compared to WNBA players by him. He was drawing comparisons between her and one of the NBA's most intriguing point guards, Tyrese Halliburton. Music. Pascal continued to assert that Caitlin was receiving the most affection. That's not just admiration. That's acknowledgement. That's a reality check for anyone still claiming the WNBA exists Music in a vacuum. You know, someone's impact is serious when they're being names dropped in conversations meant for the NBA elite. Siakam had the option to choose anyone, but he chose Caitlin Clark. It's not a headline. That's a change. It indicates that Caitlin has overcome the imperceptible barrier separating leagues, and Pascal and other guys are supportive. He said that even though he didn't have to, and that tells you everything. Obi Toppin's quotes aren't always clear-cut. His remark on Caitlin Clark stands out despite the fact that he isn't known for lengthy monologues or dramatic sound bites. It was honest, yet it lacked polish. And that is more impactful than any pre-written PR phrase in today's media landscape. Obi plays with vigor, flair, and swagger. Yet, when he discusses Caitlin Clark, his tone shifts. It's more than just respect. It's appreciation, the type you show someone who's going above and beyond the box score.
Caitlin's amazing, super amazing. She's a great player. Having her be courtside and watching our games is awesome. We see the excitement that she has on the sides, but just like she's doing that, we do the same. Like when they're playing, like it's so much. It's a joy to watch.
The parody is what sticks out, not the phrase. Caitlin from OBC and the WNBA as equals. Music, not as an afterthought or as inferior. They commemorate their victories in the same manner as NBA, Music players. It's an uncommon and important mutual energy. Seeing Caitlin Clark courtside Music and knowing that the NBA players genuinely care is cool. It's more than just saying, oh, hey, a celebrity showed up. It's a genuine admiration and basketball connection. It's not necessary for what Obi said to go viral. Although it doesn't make headlines, it represents something more significant. Caitlin's status as a women's basketball player has changed. She is a hooper. Forget about it. You've already entered their world when NBA players begin to talk about you as if you were one of them. Giving someone on your team a cliche is an easy way to make them feel good. She's fantastic. I admire her level of skill. That sort of thing. Tyrese Halliburton, however, chose a different path. Because Caitlin Clark lives in the same city as him, he did more than merely promote her. It was a proper PR maneuver, so he didn't give her praise. His words were inspired by his closeness to her, his familiarity with her, and his observation of the daily storm she's been enduring without flinching.
I think for me, getting to actually spend time around her, be around her, get to know her personally, she's just an amazing person, an amazing player. She deals with there's a lot of rhetoric behind her that she really has no control over, and I think that the way she handles that is just amazing. Like, I think when it comes to the game of basketball, like, she's probably top 5 most famous people that are playing right now, just in general. That includes our league as well.
The 5 most well-known eras. That's NBA All-Star Tyrese talking about Caitlin Clark alongside LeBron, Steph, and Jokic. Out of reality, not out of hype. He observes the figures, the cacophony of the media, and the fervor of the fans. He understands what it's like to represent a franchise. And as a sophomore, he is aware that Caitlin is coping with something even more intense. Additionally, the empathy in his words is overlooked. He is standing up for her as a person, not simply as a player. Tyrese is making the world aware of the abuse, pressure, and nonsense he didn't ask for. Caitlin Clark is more than prepared. The sports world recalibrates when LeBron James speaks, rather than merely listening. Music. Every word is examined. Every delay is examined. That's what occurs when the person who has represented basketball for the past 20 years chooses to comment. Therefore, his remarks against Caitlin Clark weren't merely lighthearted. It had a deeper message and was an enthusiastic recommendation, one that got right to the heart of what this athletic moment is all about, cutting through the clamor and blowback.
Because everybody is looking for you to say anything, and they're going to splice it and cut it and make it a negative thing. And I think for her, the one thing that I love that she's bringing to her sport, more people want to watch. More people want to tune in. I saw for the first time that they had a chartered plane for the first time in their league history. They flew private. That should be celebrated in its own right.
LeBron is standing up for development in general, as well as Caitlin Clark. He has witnessed what she has had to bear, not simply pressure from the media, but a change in culture. He understands what it means to be the driving force behind a league's decision to go private. That goes beyond history. This is a legacy move. He has experience at the expectations, the target on your back, and all of that. Perhaps this explains why he recognizes some of himself in Caitlin. Not only did she win LeBron's admiration, but she also gained his respect. And that is a very different kind of compliment. To propose a 3-point game against one of the world's most anticipated shooters requires a certain level of confidence. Being the one to ask for it gives you even more self-assurance. Trae Young comes in. Trae has never been shy and is well known for his deep explosions and daring demeanor. However, his tone slightly changes when he speaks about Caitlin Clark, still self-assured, still lighthearted, but with a clear hint of appreciation. This is more than just one top shooter praising another. It's a real-time peer recognition of excellence.
You were hype about Steph and Sabrina. I know that you have spoken about Caitlin Clark. You're a big Caitlin Clark fan.
Oh, yeah.
She, of course, is an excellent shooter. Would you ever do like a Caitlin Trae 3-point contest at All-Star?
Of course I would. I've gotten to talk to her too throughout her college years. We're the only 2 people that ever led college in points and assists. That's a crazy stat. I'd have to definitely practice a lot more than I have for these previous 3-point competitions. Nah, I'd be ready for sure. I'd do it.
To begin with, only 2 players in NCAA history have led the country in both assists and points in a single season. It's not a fun fact. That's aristocracy in basketball. Additionally, Trae's remarks about her are not patronizing. It's real. It's a genuine homage to a talent from a different generation. He's not acting as though he would prevail in that shootout. He acknowledges that he would have to increase his reps. That is the highest form of deference. Caitlin participates in more than simply the discussion. She is the topic of discussion. Young is prepared to share the limelight, or perhaps engage in a head-to-head match. Paul George is a fluff artist. He doesn't speak to gain influence. It's to help you see things more clearly. He also offered one of the most insightful opinions we've heard from any NBA player regarding Caitlin Clark. He didn't start praising right away. He refrained from bashing. He He provided context by zooming out because Paul George discussed something quite different than the highlight video, viral fouls, or all-time shooting statistics that have dominated most discussions about Caitlin.
You gotta put it in perspective, right? These girls have been grinding to grow the game of basketball in the WNBA. They've been grinding to grow the sport to the world, the viewerships. They've been grinding for all of this. And then you have this girl that comes along from college and is an instant change. She's handed pretty much being the face of the league. There's going to be girls that are offended by that.
It's not a jab at Caitlin. That serves as a reality check regarding the change in culture. Even Paul George doesn't music dispute her greatness. He's actually confirming that by referring to her as an instant change. However, he's also recognizing something we don't discuss enough. The psychological damage in music causes to the ladies who established the foundation, the veterans who pushed for charter flights, played in empty gyms, and never had cameras in their faces. Despite working just as hard, they did not receive the benefits that Caitlin received. Even if she earned it, it hurts when someone goes in and instantly becomes the league's face. Paul George didn't justify the animosity, but he did humanize it, and by doing music. So he demonstrated to us the depth of this moment. Caitlin is more than just the focal point. She is the focal point of a change that is affecting everyone. Luka Doncic expresses his desires and thoughts. You can tell he's music, direct if you've seen him play or speak. In particular, no further polish and no filter. As a result, his response to a straightforward query regarding women's basketball carried more weight. There was no hesitation, no phony diplomacy. Lucas put a stamp on the conversation in a few words by expressing what he meant.
Your favorite women's basketball player?
Caitlin Clark.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't like Paige Buchers?
She's okay. I didn't see her playing in the women's NBAs.
It's not shadow that pivot. The setting is standard. Luka made it apparent that he didn't belittle Paige's skill. At the professional level, Caitlin Clark is now doing it. That's what counts. She is more than just a March Madness highlight reel or college buzz. She continues to come up every night despite being hit and dropping dimes in the trenches. There's a respect in that response, but it's faint. Luka is aware of what it takes to become a professional and truly deliver. It was basketball talk the way he put it. Real is aware of real. It's confirmation rather than a compliment when a generational NBA player like Luka nods at Caitlin. She passed the exam. She's here. She's already that player in Luka's eyes. He had observed the hits continuing from a distance. He observed the league remaining silent. One of the most well-known voices in basketball, Steph Curry, thought it was time to speak. His remarks didn't only support Caitlin Clark. Everyone who was watching received a message from them.
I'm sick of watching Caitlin getting attacked. If the league doesn't step up and protect her, things are going to get ugly real fast.
It was more than just assistance. That shot served as a warning. You know, everyone in the league and onlookers must take attention when Steph shouts it out like that. Steph wasn't finished, though. He went one step farther after criticizing Caitlin's treatment. With a level of detail that only he could provide, he dissected her game, highlighting her timing, range, and fearless style that made him think of himself. You could hear the respect in his voice music as he uttered it.
I saw somebody break down the release time, which is pretty much identical to mine. And it hurt just confidence. You can't help but watch when she plays, where she's shooting from, the range, the confidence, the flair. Like, she's a performer. It's crazy though, just because her shot is like that. It's at that level. If you really watch, like, her floor game is as impressive. So it's kind of the total package.
Listen to that once again. The best shooter in NBA history, Steph Curry, has stated that Caitlin's shot is comparable to his. That's not fluff from the media. From the top of the mountain, it is respect. What though improves the quote even further, the shooting was not the end of him. He referred to her as a performer. He highlighted the floor game and the subtleties that true hoopers see, but casual viewers overlook. The feel, the passing, and the court's vision. It's all there already. Steph isn't the only one drawn to Caitlin Clark's game. He's impressed by it. That is not the same. That's particularly uncommon since it's not a shout-out, when the man who altered basketball forever says, "You've got the total package." It's a passing of the torch. Silence can sometimes speak louder than words. The sound of Jason Tatum's stillness was overwhelming. One of the easiest questions in the world was music, posed to the Celtics great. Which WNBA player is your favorite? A great chance to acknowledge the woman who has emerged as the league's face, provide praise, support the movement, and say what so many other celebrities have already said. However, Tatum responded with a simple, deadpan music response rather than even acknowledging Caitlin Clark's favorite WNBA player, Aya Wilson. That's all. There was no justification, not even a hint of background, and no affection for Caitlin's actions, just a dismissal. Let's be clear. Music Wilson is a respected, dominant player who has won multiple titles. However, this had nothing to do with disrespecting Aya. It was about disregarding Caitlin Clark, the single player who has transformed the financial landscape, carried the league on her back, and made watching WNBA games an appointment. One of the biggest names in the NBA, Tatum, also made the decision to pretend that she didn't exist. Nothing at all, not even a shout-out or respect. Caitlin isn't requesting fake love. Therefore, it's not only disappointing, but shameful. She is deserving of it. She has received more hits than any athlete ought to. Despite being left off Team USA and having her name brought up in the media, she continues to perform, show up, and handle the situation with poise. Jason Tatum was unable to even pronounce her name after all of that. How could he? This was not a lost chance. It was a declaration. That moment conveyed a message, whether on purpose or not. I don't mind what you're doing. And it's exactly the kind of subtle disrespect that Caitlin Clark has encountered throughout the season. She is motivating even the stars themselves. Kevin Durant's microphone is the largest in basketball. He is aware of the impact of his words in every tweet, comment, and podcast appearance. The entire sports world eagerly awaited KD's response when he was asked to pick his favorite female athlete, Caitlin Music Clark. He dropped another one instead. Hey, give a one-word response without hesitancy or subtlety. Suddenly, it was obvious that KD had chosen. It wasn't Caitlin either. Music, this wasn't a coincidence. Let's face it, this was a decision. The biggest sports story of the year has been Caitlin Clark. She is selling out arenas, shattering viewership records, and drawing attention to a league that has been neglected for decades. Despite being fouled, ridiculed, chastised, and excluded from the Olympic team, she has remained composed. No one has ever done what she is doing. Furthermore, Kevin Durant didn't simply overlook her. He made a special effort to draw attention to her main competitor in the media. That isn't assistance. It's a slap in the face. Angel Reese is a mediocre player. Nobody disputes that. However, how can you consider all of Caitlin's accomplishments and then purposefully identify the player who has been the target of the most criticism when she has been carrying the WNBA's visibility night after night? Caitlin Clark was far superior to Angel Reese. How could he? This was a sincere choice. It was a power move, a subliminal "I'm not with her" moment from a man who is well versed in how the media operates. And by doing this, Durant weakened Caitlin's influence rather than merely ignoring it. Music, because it doesn't go unnoticed when a player with KD's level of influence ignores the biggest story in basketball. It reaffirms the exact opposition Caitlin has faced since music, the beginning. Additionally, you are contributing to the issue if you aren't helping her when she is bearing this much weight. No longer is this merely noise. When NBA players begin to speak honestly, passionately, and on camera, it's a sign that something genuine is taking place. Caitlin Clark did more than just start discussions. In the best way possible, she's causing discomfort for the league. That is Caitlin Clark's current power. She is more than just a performer. In a world where safe answers and gray regions predominate, music, she is the player who forces choices, reactions, and clarity. She is adored more than his own colleague. Pascal Siakam acknowledged. Steph Curry recognized himself in her performance. LeBron James commended the achievements she has already made. Full venues, huge viewing surges, and chartered aircraft. According to Tyrese Halliburton, she is currently among the top 5 basketball celebrities. That's not hyperbole, either. Music, that's the truth. Then there's Luka picking her over Paige. Trae Young is willing to engage in combat. Music, Orima grinned like a fangirl. Paul George used just 3 words to put an end to disrespect. Tatum, however, music keeps things succinct. And Durant made a decision that spoke a lot. Regarding Caitlin Clark, the NBA music is divided. Perhaps that's the point, because neutrality is not inspired by excellence. It provokes genuine, unvarnished reactions. And there is no longer any question about Caitlin's greatness. No one in this league has ever done what she is doing, attracting audiences comparable to those at NBA games, and receiving the kind of adulation and criticism that only superstars receive. That's legacy, not noise. The most terrifying thing is that she's only getting started. Please share your thoughts in the comment section, subscribe, and enable all notifications so you don't miss anything. We'll see you in the next one after you click the video on the screen.